I found myself in the role of a disposable female supporting character in a cliched romance novel. When I transmigrated, the plot had already advanced significantly, reaching the two-thirds mark. My current identity is that of the wife to a reckless young heir. At this point, the character, Mei Lin, has already made enemies of all the influential figures in the story. The protagonist despises her, her childhood sweetheart avoids her like the plague, her biological mother is deceased, and her father neglects her, openly favoring his illegitimate daughter, who happens to be the heroine, Lin Yu. Thinking about this situation gave me a headache. In just 3 months, Mei Lin, who is now me, will take her own life by jumping off a building. Calculating the days, the only person I can rely on is my husband, whom I've never met and have no feelings for. Thus, I decided to cut ties with my scummy father and the heroine, cling to my husband's side, and reclaim my life. The original Mei Lin's husband, Chen Wei, is a domineering CEO. Their relationship was practically non-existent, with both parties living separate lives except for public appearances. Chen Wei is known for his infidelities, and Mei Lin had always plotted to betray him with her childhood sweetheart. My immediate goal is to approach Chen Wei, win his favor, and gain the protection of this powerful figure. To achieve this, I devised a detailed plan. Step 1: Increase my presence. Chen Wei has a regular female companion at social events, and people in their circle have increasingly ignored Mei Lin, the proper Mrs. Chen. Over time, Mei Lin's erratic behavior and the protagonist's charm have made her a target of ridicule. To avoid following in Mei Lin's footsteps, I urgently need to socialize, gain recognition, and increase Chen Wei's favor towards me. According to my plan, I will act immediately. I bribed Chen Wei's personal assistant to obtain his schedule. That evening, I dressed elegantly and attended the Chen family's jewelry appreciation gala. At that moment, Chen Wei was on stage, delivering a speech alongside a popular actress. When the crowd noticed my arrival, they were initially surprised, followed by whispers. "Why is she here? Didn't President Chen forbid her from attending events? Who knows? I wonder what scheme she's up to this time." Yeah, President Chen wouldn't allow her here if it weren't for Yao Ling. The crowd's disdain for the original character was palpable. The commotion caught Chen Wei's attention. In the original story, Chen Wei was a prodigy, winning math competitions at a young age and turning his family business into a Fortune 500 company by the age of 25. Unfortunately, he met an untimely end in a car accident at 35. But now, as Mei Lin, I refuse to let that happen. I want to break free from the plot and become the true heroine. He glanced at me, and I met his gaze, raising my glass and smiling. Shortly after, the gala commenced. Yao Ling approached me, swaying slightly with a wineglass in hand. "Miss Mei, it's been a while. What brings you to our Chen family's event today? Do you have an interest in jewelry?" Yao Ling fiddled with a jade bracelet on her wrist, sizing me up with a provocative expression. The bracelet was exquisite, worth at least 800,000, and it was clear she had put a lot of thought into it. However, it didn't suit her, and it was evident she was trying too hard. In my previous life, I was a renowned jewelry appraiser, and her little tricks were nothing compared to my expertise. "Miss Yao, you're joking. My health isn't great, and Chen Wei is always worried I'll tire myself out, so he rarely lets me out. But as the young mistress of the Chen family, I can't remain hidden forever. It wouldn't be right for others to speculate wildly, don't you think, big star?" Yao Ling's face paled with anger, and the wine glass in her hand nearly shattered. I felt a surge of satisfaction and downed 3 glasses of whiskey, tears of joy in my eyes. In the original story, Yao Ling had repeatedly framed Mei Lin, trying to marry into the Chen family, but her efforts were in vain. Chen Wei already had someone he loved. Unfortunately, the author never revealed who that person was. Besides the main characters, everyone else was merely a tool in the story. Yao Ling, having her dreams shattered, could only vent her anger on Mei Lin, who had no power or influence. Thinking about this filled me with determination. I despised female rivalry. I was going to get my justice. Just as I was lost in thought, Chen Wei walked toward us. Seeing Yao Ling about to approach, I quickly took the initiative and linked my arm with his, leaning shyly against him. "Husband, you're here. Miss Yao and I were just discussing you." Seeing my unexpected behavior, Chen Wei looked confused. Just as he was about to pull away, I winked at him. "Husband, before I came out today, Mom specifically told me to keep an eye on you and make sure you don't drink too much. Otherwise, I'll have to deal with it all night when we get home. She said she feels sorry for me." My voice wasn't loud, but it carried perfectly through the microphone, and my delicate tone echoed throughout the banquet hall. The gazes directed at Chen Wei and me became ambiguous, and the crowd began to indulge in the gossip of the wealthy. Didn't they say the relationship between Chen Wei and his wife was strained? It seems the rumors aren't true. Hey, when did the couple ever admit they were at odds? I think Chen Wei is only doing this for the sake of his mother. Old Mrs. Chen likes Mei Lin, so Chen Wei hasn't divorced her. I listened with great interest as Chen Wei grabbed my waist and led me to a quieter area. In the dim light, his sharp features were striking, and his captivating eyes made me momentarily lose my composure. He pinned me against the wall, looking at me suspiciously. Mei Lin, what are you trying to pull this time? Seeing his serious expression, I chuckled, wrapping my arms around his neck and gently blowing air into his ear. Husband, why are you so mean to me? I'm just concerned. I didn't mean anything bad. You haven't come home in a month. Can't I come see you? After hearing my words, Chen Wei sneered, lifting my chin with his slender fingers. Don't play tricks with me, or your father's days won't be easy. My father was the one who sold me to the Chen family. If his days were made difficult, he might as well stop living them. I raised my head, blinking my innocent eyes, and began to recount the good deeds my father had forced me to do. Husband, you know my words carry little weight in the Mei family. Dad threatened me, saying if I didn't comply, he'd send me abroad to fend for myself. Sob, sob, sob. After speaking, I threw myself into Chen Wei's arms, my tears staining his expensive suit. Chen Wei was completely bewildered. His arms moved slowly, and he hugged me stiffly, patting my back. I was secretly delighted. I was fully embracing the role of a love-struck little crybaby. Chen Wei, come into my embrace, I'm going to win you over. Just as I was getting carried away, Chen Wei said in a low voice, if you don't get up, I'll throw you downstairs. I turned to look at the view below, then pushed Chen Wei away in tears. Chen Wei shrugged off his coat in disgust, revealing his toned physique beneath his crisp shirt. I swallowed hard, and before I could react, he quickly walked back toward the banquet hall. I followed like a little tail, but my dress restricted my movements, making it difficult to keep up with him. Unexpectedly, he stopped suddenly, and I crashed into his solid back. Geez, why did you stop? I saw Chen Wei turn around, a smirk on his face. Oh, why don't you keep acting? Can't you maintain it? I lowered my head, not daring to meet his gaze, and could only mumble, husband, what are you saying? I was just startled by you, how annoying. Chen Wei made a vomit expression and tossed his suit jacket over my head. Come on, follow me. Coming, husband, wait for me. Since I was determined to be a cute wife, I would go all the way. When Chen Wei and I returned, the appraisers had already begun negotiations with various jewelers. I walked beside Chen Wei, my discerning eye scanning every piece of jewelry. Soon, I noticed something unusual. A rough stone was being sold at a price 200% higher than its actual value. I lunged forward, blocking the stamp from Chen Wei's company on the contract. The appraiser in charge looked at me with displeasure. Madam, what are you doing? Do you have any knowledge of this stone? His tone was condescending, calling me madam but not hiding his disdain. Knowledge is too much to claim, it's just a hobby. How much are you asking for this stone? The appraiser replied proudly, 3 million. What are you laughing at? Laughing at your foolishness. This time it was Chen Wei. Chen Wei stepped forward, wrapping his arm around my waist with a look of affection. What's your opinion, madam? Instantly, I blushed. This man was quite perceptive, backing me up in public. I leaned close to his ear and whispered my thoughts. This stone isn't worth 50,000. This appraiser is crooked. Upon hearing my words, Chen Wei waved his hand, instructing them to cut the stone open on the spot. The result was obvious. I had never misjudged. The appraiser responsible for the transaction was immediately detained for questioning. You were amazing. What? I said, you were amazing. Facing Chen Wei's straightforward praise, I felt a little embarrassed. I waved my hand, feigning modesty. Keep it low-key, it's just basic stuff. The next day, while trying to keep a low profile, Chen Wei, Yao Ling, and I all landed on the trending list. The headline read, Former heiress and rising star V for the same man, how will Diamond Bachelor Chen Wei choose? The accompanying picture showed me baring my teeth at Yao Ling while clinging to Chen Wei. I strongly suspected that the tabloid reporter was sent by Yao Ling. In the photo, she looked pitiful, gazing at Chen Wei with affection, a truly devoted innocent beauty. On the other hand, I appeared aggressive, a typical villainous supporting character. I couldn't take it anymore. I was going to represent the 21st century and set these misguided values straight. I grabbed my phone, screenshots displayed, and stormed into Chen Wei's office. On the way, his secretary tried to stop me, but my sharp glare silenced her. I entered the president's office without hindrance. Slap! I slammed my phone on Chen Wei's desk. He looked up and rolled his eyes at me. What do you want this time? Seeing his cold expression, I immediately became timid. I pinched myself hard, forcing tears to come out, and began crying to Chen Wei. Husband, look at them. It doesn't matter if I suffer a little, but they're saying you're unfaithful and trying to drive a wedge between us. Sob if possible, I'm willing to sacrifice myself to earn their understanding of you and the company. Chen Wei sat in his gaming chair, not sparing me a single extra glance despite my sacrifice. I decided to go all in, turning his face toward mine, forcing him to look at me. Husband, we can't just think about ourselves. What if Mom sees all this? At her age, she shouldn't have to worry about us. How can you bear that? These past few days of interacting with Chen's family, I discovered a blind spot. Chen Wei particularly respected his mother, who treated me like her own daughter. In the original story, the mother-in-law was also a victim of an arranged marriage, making her one of the few people who treated Mei Lin well. She not only supported her but also persuaded Chen Wei to live well with her. Unfortunately, she couldn't protect Mei Lin in the end, who committed suicide while her mother-in-law was away. Sure enough, once I mentioned his mother, Chen Wei couldn't sit still and called for someone. "Secretary Lin, come in." Moments later, a capable-looking woman with short hair appeared at the door. "Mr. Chen, did you need something?" Chen Wei tossed my phone in front of Secretary Lin, speaking with apparent displeasure. "Is this your work efficiency?" Within 3 seconds, Secretary Lin returned the phone and bowed to me. "Wait, what's this about? It's not even a holiday." Before I could react, Secretary Lin started apologizing to me. "I'm sorry, madam, it was my negligence. I'll handle it right away." Then she turned and left, thoughtfully closing the door behind her. In the office, Chen Wei and I stared at each other. To break the awkwardness, I spoke first. "Husband, your secretary is quite unique. Is that so?" "I think you're more unique." "Huh?" Before I could ask, Chen Wei pulled me into his arms, his hands restraining me so I couldn't move. "My wife has changed quite a bit lately. I'm having trouble adjusting." To avoid Chen Wei discovering I was an imposter, I reluctantly played along. "Really? Haha, husband, maybe it's because you haven't seen me in a while." Chen Wei remained silent. At that moment, his large hands wandered across my back. He raised one arm, held the back of my head, and began stroking my hair. Under the desk, our legs became intertwined. Just as I was becoming dizzy with emotion and about to lose resistance, Secretary Lin came in. "Mr. Chen, yeah, oh, I'm sorry, please continue." I hurriedly pushed Chen Wei away, straightened my clothes, and ran out. Meanwhile, the troublemaker Chen Wei laughed behind my back. "Endure it, I can endure it. He's my sugar daddy." I clenched my fists, trying hard to brainwash myself. As I left, I saw Secretary Lin again, immersed in her work. I had some impression of this person when I was reading the book initially. Everyone speculated that Secretary Lin was Chen Wei's true love. I even shipped them together, but they were actually just colleagues. Now I just want to slap myself for not following up on their story more. After leaving the Chen Corporation, I began to review my first phase of the plan. I only have 2 words to evaluate myself: perfect. After this incident, not only did I catch Chen Wei's attention, but probably everyone in Cydia now remembers me. Mei Linear, Phase 2, conquering his stomach. In my previous life, my mother told me that to capture someone's heart, you must first capture their stomach. This works for both men and women, a surefire strategy. So under my mother's guidance, I even took a 3-month culinary course in my past life. In the afternoon, I asked Mama Chen to invite Chen Wei home for dinner, ready to show off my skills. When Mama Chen heard this, she was so happy she nearly jumped. Holding my hands, she kept advising, "Mei Lin, you're such a good child. The moment I first saw you, I knew you were meant to be my daughter-in-law. Chen Wei may be a bit rough around the edges, but he has a good heart. If you two can be happy together, I'll be at ease." I covered Mama Chen's hands with mine and spoke with utmost sincerity to this elegant and kind mother. "Mom, don't worry. Chen Wei and I will definitely be happy together. If he doesn't leave, I won't abandon him." My words moved Mama Chen to tears, so she called Chen Wei again to scold him. I dove into the kitchen and began working with the hundreds of ingredients. 2 hours later, the dishes were served. Spicy ginger with yellow sprouts, lamb head with fish and papaya stir-fry, golden rice rolls with donkey roll desserts. There was everything from vegetarian to meat dishes, wine to preserves, rice to noodles. When dinner was served, Chen Wei had just returned. As soon as he entered, Mama Chen grabbed his ear and started scolding him. "You little rascal, only showing up when the food is ready. Where were you earlier? Just waiting to come eat? Look at Mei Lin, she's been busy since noon while you just enjoy the benefits." Chen Wei, ouch, Mom, let go first. "I was wrong, next time I'll come back earlier and won't let you and Mei Lin lift a finger in the kitchen." Seeing that Mama Chen wasn't letting go, I spoke up at the right moment. Like thunder from the sky, the considerate little chef made her dazzling appearance. "Mom, why don't you let go of Brother Wei first? Let's eat, or the food will get cold." Seeing how gentle and kind I was, Mama Chen was extremely pleased. She held my hand and walked to the dining room, not giving Chen Wei a second glance. "Chen Wei, who's really your biological child?" Seeing Chen Wei's frustrated expression, I held back my laughter and whispered in his ear, "I only care about brother's feelings." Looking at the table full of delicacies, Mama Chen praised me again. "Oh my, our Mei Lin is so talented. Not only beautiful but also an excellent cook. That good-for-nothing son of mine really lucked out." I blushed at the praise while Chen Wei stared at me resentfully. "Mom, you can praise Mei Lin all you want, but why drag me into it? Who belittles their own son like this? Before Mama Chen could scold Chen Wei again, I quickly spoke up. Mom, please try my cooking and see how it is. I looked at them both with starry eyes. Mei Lin's cooking skills are good enough to be a head chef in a restaurant, Mama Chen praised. Chen Wei, however, chewed for a long time and, meeting my eyes, asked, "Are you Mei Lin? Could it be that my disguise was exposed too quickly, and I've been discovered?" "Husband, what are you saying? If I'm not Mei Lin, who else could I be? You're so annoying." Before I could finish speaking, Mama Chen stuffed a bun into Chen Wei's mouth. "If you can't say anything nice, just shut your mouth. You can't even stop that stupid mouth of yours while eating." After the meal, Chen Wei was assigned to wash the dishes, while I was pulled into the bedroom by Mama Chen for a heart-to-heart talk. As soon as we entered the room, Mama Chen slipped a bracelet onto my wrist. She patted my hand and said earnestly, "Mei Lin, this is a bracelet passed down from the Mei family. I didn't give it to you before because I didn't want to force you. Don't worry, even without Chen Wei, I will always treat you like my own daughter." I don't know if I managed to handle Chen Wei during this meal, but I can be sure that I definitely handled Mama Chen. After returning to my room that night, I was too lazy to turn on the lights and crawled blindly to the edge of the bed. Just as I touched the edge, I felt something hard. The next second, I shouted loudly, "Ah, there's a thief! Someone come!" Before I could finish speaking, a dark shadow covered my mouth. Chen Wei's hoarse voice echoed in my ear. "What are you yelling about? Do you think I'm a thief? Huh? Oh, so it was Chen Wei's ABS I just touched. Then I'll play the role of a flower thief." As he spoke, his hands became restless, wandering all over my body, eventually settling on my ankles. With a forceful pull, Chen Wei dragged me beneath him. His warm breath brushed against my neck, making me feel awkward. "It tickles." His moist lips touched my collarbone, stirring my heart. Before I could push Chen Wei away, a group of people burst in. Crap, I forgot to lock the door today. Everyone looked at me and Chen Wei on the bed, exchanging awkward glances, the air thick with embarrassment. Mama Chen was the first to squeeze through the crowd. "What's wrong, Mei Lin? Is there a thief?" I sat on Chen Wei's lap, blushing and looking down. Chen Wei glanced at me, then turned to the crowd and said, "There's no thief, Mei Lin is just playing a game with me." Hearing this, everyone smiled knowingly. In the end, I only heard Mama Chen sigh and tell me to rest early. The others retreated, but what was with those gossipy and ambiguous looks? After that day, Chen Wei would come home for dinner whenever he was free, whether it was my cooking that attracted him or a strict requirement from his mother. Of course, in the face of the unknown, I chose to take the initiative. The next day, I made a big bone soup and took it to the CEO's office. Unfortunately, I ran into my scummy father who sold me. As soon as he saw me, he lit up like he'd seen a savior. He immediately grabbed my sleeve and started wailing. "Mei Lin, the Mei family raised you. This time, you must help your father and your sister." Oh, I remembered. In the original story, the Mei group had financial problems. As the current head of the family, the heroine was the first to be affected and was invited to the police station for questioning. My scummy father couldn't bear to see his precious daughter suffer, so he repeatedly coerced and tempted the original owner, wanting the Chen group to help. At that time, the original owner was already severely depressed and committed suicide under her father's pressure. Naturally, the Chen group did not offer assistance. In the end, the heroine resolved the crisis with her own charm. From then on, City A only knew that the Mei family had one daughter, and that was the heroine, Lin Yu. She was a new force in the market, gifted and extraordinary, while Mei Lin faded into obscurity, a truly tragic end. I looked at my scummy father in front of me and rolled my eyes at him. I pushed away his hand, ignored his clamoring, and walked directly to Chen Wei's side. "Husband, I made you some soup, try it and see if you like it." I handed the delicate small porcelain bowl to Chen Wei, my face full of anticipation. "It's very delicious." Pleased with his praise, I left a mark on Chen Wei's face. "If you like it, I'll make it for you every day." Just as our eyes locked in a romantic gaze, my scummy father spoke up. "Tisk, he hasn't left yet, he really has no tact. Little Chen, how are you considering the investment? Now that you and Mei Lin are so close, as her father, I can rest easy." Having said that, he even took off his glasses and pretended to wipe away non-existent tears. Hearing this, Chen Wei's eyes became obscure, and it was impossible to guess what he was thinking. Looking at my scummy father, I felt a surge of anger. In these past few days, I had carefully planned and somewhat eased my relationship with Chen Wei. It couldn't be ruined by this old man. So I spoke first, before Chen Wei could make a decision. "Dad, it's rare to see you. How about you try the soup I made?" I handed a matching small porcelain bowl to my scummy father, and in front of Chen Wei, he didn't dare refuse to drink it. Sure enough, my scummy father drank it all in one gulp. Cough cough cough, yug. Seeing my scummy father's reaction, I was ecstatic inside, but I still pretended to be sad and leaned on Chen Wei's shoulder. "Honey, is the soup not good? Why is Dad reacting like this?" Chen Wei didn't speak, just quietly looking at my scummy father. If looks could kill, my scummy father would have been killed hundreds of times over. Of course, there was nothing wrong with the soup, the problem was the bowl my scummy father used. Before coming, I had accidentally spilled some mustard sauce on that bowl, and because I didn't want to waste time, I grabbed another one. I put them together, and who knew it would come in handy now? Looking at my scummy father's angry but unable to express it appearance, I felt a surge of secret joy. I was about to start stirring the pot, it was time to hunt. Honey, what investment were you and Dad talking about just now? Can you tell me? It's not an investment, it's an acquisition. The May family is about to go bankrupt. I pretended to be surprised. Ah, how could this be? I remember Dad saying that my older sister was very talented, a top student who studied abroad. How could it end up like this? When the original owner was young, my scummy father constantly emotionally abused her, saying things like a woman's virtue lies in her lack of talent and that Mei Lin was not as smart as Lin Yu. Over time, even Mei Lin began to doubt herself. Eventually, Lin Yu got top marks, attended Harvard, while Mei Lin barely got into a junior college and was still scolded by her scummy father for being useless. Isn't this just murder? He could even treat his own daughter like that, he's worse than an animal. As soon as my scummy father heard me question Lin Yu, he became anxious. He couldn't tolerate anyone saying a single bad word about his precious daughter. What nonsense are you talking about? This time someone framed the Mei family, it has nothing to do with Lin Yu. Why must you malign your older sister? Did you let the dogs eat all the morality and ethics you were taught since childhood? I can't understand what the man in front of me is barking about. I remember I haven't seen you much since I was 8. You didn't even want to talk to me, so where does this teaching come from? Moreover, you said on the day I got married that you didn't want to have anything to do with me anymore, so now. Before I could finish speaking, I burst into tears and fainted in Chen Wei's arms. Chen Wei, holding me, was in a panic. When I woke up again, I was already in the hospital. And 4 drip was hanging by the bed, and Chen Wei was slumped beside me. Even in his sleep, he didn't forget to hold the 4 tube with his hand. No wonder I didn't feel any coldness on my hand. The soft light fell on Chen Wei's face, and there were a few days' growth of stubble on his handsome face. I unconsciously reached out to touch it. Chen Wei seemed to sense it beforehand, woke up, and met my gaze. I awkwardly looked away. You're awake, Mei Linear. Are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere? I'll go call the doctor. I'm fine, husband. What happened to me? Why am I in the hospital? I asked knowingly, stirring up Chen Wei's hatred for my scummy father. You fainted. Chen Wei stroked my hair and checked my forehead, his eyes filled with heartache. You were wronged. Why didn't you tell me? Looking at the dejected Chen Wei before me, I slowed my tone and spoke gently. Those things are all in the past. What's important is now, that I'm with you. Sincerity is always the ultimate weapon. Chen Wei hugged me. Mei Lin, you don't have to be so sensible in the future, you can rely on me. Chen Wei spoke sincerely, and I heard with intent. I wrapped my arms around his waist. But before we had been tender for long, Chen Wei's phone rang. The 3 big words Yao Ling came into my sight. Chen Wei wanted to hang up, but I stopped him. Answer it, I also want to hear what your rumored girlfriend has to say. Chen Wei answered the call expressionlessly. President Chen, are you busy? Sorry to bother you. I won the Best Actress award for the movie you recommended. I want to thank you. Are you free recently? I'd like to treat you to a meal. Yao Ling's tone was full of testing and flattery. Obviously, they were not familiar. Chen Wei glanced at me and coldly replied to Yao Ling, I'm not free. I didn't recommend that movie. You don't need to thank me. After hanging up the phone, Chen Wei talked to me all night. He talked about everything from when he was 8 years old to his current 28. Then, to prove his sincerity to me, he gave me his black card. After I was discharged from the hospital, my scummy father came knocking when he heard the news. It just so happened that Mama Chen had gone up the mountain to pray for blessings, leaving only Chen Wei and me at home. My scummy father entered with large bags and small packages, and was also holding a jewelry box in his arms. Mei Lin, you were sick recently, your sister was extremely worried. Here, this is a jade pendant she specially asked for from the mountain for you. My scummy father proudly presented the jade pendant in front of me. After not getting any benefits from Chen's family that day, my scummy father had tried everywhere to find connections and spent several million to get Lin Yu out of jail. Lin Yu had once shown off an expensive black jade bracelet on her social media, and the jade pendant my scummy father was holding was actually made from the leftover bits of that bracelet. I pushed the jewelry box back. My sister is such a talented person, I'm afraid I can't handle something she's asked for. You should just keep it for yourself. Listening to my sarcastic tone, my scummy father still smiled happily. Mei Lin, Dad knows he hasn't been good to you in the past, Dad knows he was wrong. Please give Dad another chance. Alright, I'm giving you a chance. Who gives me a chance? I don't want to jump off a building and turn into a pile of meat paste. Give you a chance, sure. Have Lin Yu bring her mother to my mother's grave to kowtow and kneel. Lin Yu's mother is my scummy father's white moonlight, he wouldn't bear to let his goddess suffer. Mei Lin, your aunt isn't in good health, she can't take the stimulation. I'll go kowtow and kneel to your mother, would that work? Ha, what a simp. I blew on the dust on my fingernails and said casually, you can kowtow, but I don't think my mother wants to see you either. How about this, you kowtow to me, and we'll call our grudges even. My scummy father's face turned green with anger after hearing what I said, but he still had to be respectful to me. After all, his precious daughter was in a hurry for money. Okay, as long as you're happy, I'll do anything. He made it sound like he was a loving father and I was an unfilial daughter. Then, my scummy father kowtowed to me with a loud thud. I said to him calmly, all right, I forgive you. From now on, we'll go our separate ways and not interfere with each other. With one sentence, I severed my ties with the Mei group. After hearing what I said, my scummy father almost passed out from anger and lunged at me, yelling that he would beat me to death. But Chen Wei didn't give him the chance, he had security guards throw him out. Chen Wei smiled contentedly, putting his arm around my shoulder and turning to walk into the bedroom. Your little brain has finally clicked, you know how to fight back. Before leaving, he didn't forget to deal with the scummy father. Let them fall. After achieving my goal, I intended to retreat completely, but unexpectedly, Chen Wei grabbed my neck of fate. What's the matter? You want to leave after using me? I flipped over, escaping Chen Wei's clutches. Honey, what are you talking about? I'm going to leave first. Before going out, I even turned my head and gave Chen Wei a flirty wink. Leaving him alone, messed up in the wind. Step 3, be aloof and unpredictable, take control. Let him understand that not knowing how to cherish means I could abandon him at any time. He gets in the car, I close the door. He picks up food, I turn the table. He goes home, I go abroad. In short, avoid him as much as possible. These days lasted for a month. Chen Wei blocked me in my Ferrari. Before I could speak, he kissed me. In the tussle, Chen Wei's wallet fell out. Inside, he had secretly kept a photo of me, the one where he was holding me while confronting Yao Ling. Wow, the characters in these old novels are so bizarre. Is it a trend in their circle to hide things like that? Before I could figure it out, a dense series of kisses landed on me. The next day, Chen Wei and I were on the gossip tabloids. Former feuding couple actually true love, CEO Chen returns to family choosing true love. According to incomplete statistics, the sales of the small magazine exceeded 10,000 in a single day. Tisk, I'll be a tabloid reporter in my next life. While I was making plans for my career, a ringtone interrupted me. An unfamiliar number. Mei Lin, let's meet, I'm waiting for you at the coffee shop downstairs at Chen's. It was Yao Ling, who had just won Best Actress, sat in the corner of the coffee shop, a picture of serene beauty. Of course, that was before she spoke. Miss Mei, you must be very pleased with yourself right now. I was completely dumbfounded. What do I have to be pleased about? Isn't it normal for my husband and me to be loving? Yao Ling bit her lip, still wearing that fake smile. Fine, then go be loving in hell. And the next second, I was knocked unconscious and taken to an abandoned factory. I vaguely heard two people talking. After it's done, the money is mine, and the person is yours. Then it's a deal. Pleasure doing business. I struggled to open my eyes, and all I saw was ruins. Oh, our Mrs. Chen is awake. Yao Ling pinched my chin, her long nails digging into my skin. Ouch, I softly exclaimed. Does it hurt, Mei Lin? You deserve it, I was almost Mrs. Chen. You stole my luck, why don't you just die? Yao Ling laughed maniacally, constantly provoking me with her words. You know, you were supposed to die, I am the heroine. What right do you paper dolls have to compete with me? I am Chen Wei's white moonlight, it's all because of you. As Yao Ling spoke, she slapped me a few times. So, she was also a transmigrator, but she was a womb transmigrator, her neural pathways had long been corrupted by this cliched world, which meant that she was now no different from the paper dolls she despised. Yao Ling kicked and hit me crazily. My scummy father couldn't sit still any longer. Hey, don't go too hard, or if she dies, our plan will fail. Hearing his words, Yao Ling gradually calmed down. She stared into my eyes and said, word by word, just you wait for a fate worse than death. She flaunted her plan with confidence, but reality slapped her hard in the face. I didn't wait for a fate worse than death, instead, I waited for Chen Wei to come with the police to save me. Before Yao Ling was taken away, she was still yelling at me. Mei Lin, your smugness won't last long, just wait to collect Chen Wei's corpse and be a widow. Chen Wei ignored her words. He held me in his arms and asked me over and over again if I was okay. I smiled and shook my head at him. My scummy father hid to the side when the police arrived. Then, he suddenly charged over with a knife. He was coming for me, but Chen Wei blocked the knife for me. My scummy father was apprehended by the police. Chen Wei stubbornly held me close. But before he could finish his sentence, he fainted. Chen Wei. At that moment, I was certain that I had successfully captured Chen Wei's heart, but the price was that my own heart was endlessly moved. Chen Wei confessed that he liked me. He liked me being poised and confident at banquets, he liked that I always sought his help after getting into trouble. No wonder there was no mention of Chen Wei's white moonlight in the author's original text, because I was that white moonlight. My unexpected transmigration became the entire novel's bug. There was more than one transmigrator, they all wanted to exploit the bug to become the white moonlight, but they seemed to have forgotten their original intentions and gradually lost their souls, engaging in murder and crime to seek their own interests. Ultimately, they could only stay in this paper world. Years later, Chen Wei and I were still deeply in love. We lived a peaceful life, so much so that I had forgotten that I had transmigrated. In the blink of an eye, Chen Wei was 35 years old. I wasn't able to reverse fate. Chen Wei was hit by a runaway truck on his way to the temple. By the time he was taken to the hospital, it was already too late. Hearing this news, I became so distraught that I fainted. When I woke up again, I was already in a hospital, a 21st century hospital. My mind went blank, and I grabbed the sleeve of the doctor in front of me, shouting, "Chen Wei, where's Chen Wei? He's still alive, isn't he?" The doctor in front of me looked completely bewildered, removed his mask, and asked cautiously, "Miss, do you know me?" "I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that."